to be happy. Who doesn't want to be happy? I believe everybody is seeking a life full of happiness, a life that is abundant, a life that is just so amazing. So I am excited because I'm going to tell you how you can achieve an abundant life. Okay, so I can't talk to you guys about how to achieve an abundant life without first expressing to you all how I became this person who wants to be so filled up with happiness that the next person next to me feels my vibe and want to know where I got it from. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you that this came from a dark place in my life. This came from a dark place, and I'm going to turn this down so you guys can hear me better. Okay. Actually, I'm going to change it to something like more smooth, because you know how people be about, using their music in your background. So, I might get fined, or, they might just take my video down. So, yeah, let's use something like this. And I'm about to beat my son up because he in the background making all kind of noise. Alright. So, I'm going to talk to you guys about where this first came from. This started like 3 years ago, where I had reached a point in my life where I was suffering from depression. I was suffering from just being completely disconnected with life. I didn't know how to feel. I didn't know why I felt the way I felt. And I just had no understanding. I just can remember feeling like I don't know what to do. I don't know how to come about this situation. But one thing I knew for sure is that I knew that there was something better on the other side, because once again, I did have a life that was semi-abundant before what I experienced. So I knew it was possible for me to get back into a life of being abundant. Okay, so I was in a dark place. This place was so dark that I can remember just crying repeatedly, crying. And you can probably ask my mom about the situation, because she was there. Because in the times of me being sad and whatnot, I had crawled to her bedside many nights crying and just wondering like what was wrong with me and why didn't nobody understand, or what I was going through. In all reality, no one understood what I was going through, because they were not experiencing what I was going through. And truth be told, there was a point in life where I didn't believe that depression was real. I didn't believe that you can wake up sad each and every day for no freaking reason. I didn't believe that to be true. But when it hit me, I was like, oh, this is something real. This is something serious, like something serious. Thank God I never had any thoughts of ending my life or taking my own life. I just always just felt so defeated. I felt so defeated. And with me being depressed and whatnot, I didn't know what to do. It was very dark, a dark place, a very, very dark place. I can remember telling my mom one day and my god sister that sometimes it felt like I couldn't feel. Like, I remember just wanting to be connected with everybody, but I didn't feel like I was connected. I felt like I was just like seeing my own self. And I found out that that is called depersonalization, when you feel like something isn't real. And that's how I was feeling. It was terrible. I didn't wish anybody to experience what I was experiencing. So I thank God each and every day. As odd as it sounds, I thank God each and every day for that experience, because although I thought before my depression that I was living a happy life and an abundant life, it wasn't until my depression of me fighting for my peace and fighting for happiness, love, and joy, to where I found out that I actually was not living an abundant life before I got to this place of peace and wanting to prosper and be the greatest me, and just promise myself to always try to defeat the unhappy things, or try to overcome things that are trying to put me back in that place of depression. Okay, so I actually was not living a life abundantly. And how I figured that out is because during my depression, I chose to, well, not chose, it's literally I had to fight. I had to fight by figuring out why I was going through what I was going through, what it is that I needed to do to get back in a place of happiness. So before the depression, my peace was temporary. My peace was temporary. I basically used going out, hanging around the wrong crowd, or drinking, or just spending my money up, eating constantly, or just wanting to be in the company of the wrong people. I had to use that to fill the voids of what it was, fill voids, because I wanted things, you know what I mean? I wanted something to keep me happy, but I found out those things were temporary. Those things wasn't the true happiness that you may be looking for. You hanging out with the wrong crowd, smoking, drinking, having sex with different type of people, or just being in a relationship with the wrong person, those things are not true and genuine happiness. Okay? And that's what I thought was happiness. And so I was wrong. But I later found out that during my depression, it was more than all of this little temporary stuff. It was more than the rings, the necklace, getting dressed, getting fly, looking good, driving this whip, going to hang out with this person, or being at this party, or drinking this drink, or smoking this type of weed, or being in a relationship with the wrong person. It was bigger than that. It was bigger than that. Because guess what? I found out during my depression, none of those things made me happy. I didn't care if I was in a company of someone who I really, really love. It didn't make me happy. I remember during this time where I was still with my son's father, and I was going through it, and I can remember just being balled up, laying in his lap, like, you know, I was trying to have his happiness fill me up. I was trying to have his happiness, like, fill me up so I can find that old me that I used to be, but it wasn't there. It wasn't there. So that's how I know for sure that temporary things or somebody else's happiness cannot make you completely happy. Because when you're going through depression, there's nothing that can really make you happy. It don't matter. Because if you're not mentally stable, or if you're not if you're not healthy, there is nothing that is going to excite you when you are going through depression. So that's how you know for sure that those temporary fixes do and will not work. They don't work. They don't work. It's a fight for you to get back where you need to get to in life. And just like I said, during that fight, I found out a lot of beautiful things about me. I found out so much. I am here today talking to you guys because of what I found within me. I found out that I was actually very knowledgeable, and I wanted to be a lot more than what I was before during my depression. Alright, so there was this video I watched by Michael Todd, who is a pastor, and he preached about being happy. And so one of the examples that he used was this picture of a waterfall that was like pouring down, and wind was just blowing, and just, you know, looks like chaos. To be honest, it looks like nobody wants to be caught in the midst of that. But in the middle of that waterfall, there was an eagle sitting in the middle of it, just sitting there, relaxing. Okay. And so he used that as an example of what peace and happiness really is. Peace and happiness is being able to be centered and be calm within your storm. Be calm within whatever is going on around you. That is what it means to be peaceful. That is what it means to be peaceful. Okay, so if you ever see a person who's just like really chilling and just like, you're like, oh my god, I'm freaking out, why is he or she like really just calm right now? It's because you're sitting in the middle of your chaos. You're sitting in the middle of your chaos because, excuse me, I made a suggestion one day to an ex-coworker that I used to work with, and I think she was suffering from anxiety. And I said this to myself to help me get over what I was going through.